and in today's class I'm going to be taking you through the Pilates Basics and alignment. So come down on your mat and have a drink of water nearby. Let's get our belly button to the spine. We draw the belly button in. You can even place the hands on the rib cage as you tuck the rib cage in and slide it down towards the hips. You're going to flatten and scoop that lower T-zone as if you're putting on those really tight jeans trying to do the button up. And we're going to lift the pelvic floor up and hold as if you're stopping the flow from going to the toilet. Okay, so we're going to start with the bent knee fall out. Place your hands on your belly. I want you to feel what the muscles are doing as you float the knee out to the side. So we switch everything on. We're going to float the leg out to the left and then use your core to bring the leg back to center. And then we go with the right. Inhale to lower. We exhale to come back to center. We inhale to lower. We exhale to center. Inhale to lower, so keep going. And back to center. Relax through the shoulders. And keep going. So this exercise is actually not about how low that leg goes to the mat. It's actually about how controlled you are in that powerhouse. And it's a really, really good one to practice because often we get really good at activating the powerhouse in a stationary position. And then we move into the Pilates movements where we actually move the legs away from the body. And that's when we switch off. And so this is a really gentle exercise to actually practice switching it all on and keeping it switched on. So you also may notice here that as you drive your leg down to the mat, so say it's your right knee going down towards the mat, your left hip wants to lift. And so your job is to keep your hips really stable and really anchored in that position where your hips are stable. I like to also imagine that there's headlights on my hips and they're pointing straight up. And so those headlights are staying in that same movement the whole way, even though my leg's tracking out to the side. So I guess a common error would be that our hips turn with our leg. Last one on each side. So we breathe in to lower and we're breathing out as we come back to center. I just want to show you what Pilates is not. Pilates is not this. Again, if you practice just doing that, that is not Pilates. We've totally switched off and it's too fast. This is Pilates. We switch it all on and we control it from the powerhouse. It's actually slow and it's controlled. Okay, so now I want you to actually squeeze both legs together and you can place your hands out further to the side. We're going to pendulum from side to side. So this time both legs will go to the left. We're going to feel a beautiful stretch in the lower back. And we're using our oblique muscles to bring us back to center. And let's go to the other side. So we go to the right, feel the beautiful stretch in the lower back, and use your core muscles to bring your legs back to center. So this is not a leg workout. This is a core workout, even though the legs are moving. So we inhale to lower, and we exhale to come back to center. If you're doing this correctly, it is actually quite challenging. Like I said before, if you're doing it super fast and you're switching off, of course it's going to be easy. So we inhale to lower and we exhale to come back to center. Let's go one more time, slow down. And you can even have your hands out there just so you don't topple over. And last one, feel the length. Use your oblique muscles to draw you back to center. Good. Okay, hands by your side. You can have a neutral spine here, so a little gap there. We're going to lift to tabletop and extend. So come back to tabletop and then lower. So single leg, tabletop, extend, back to tabletop and lower. Keep going. And again, we're focusing on that control. We're focusing on the spinal position. So we want that correct alignment in the lower back. And because we still have one foot on the mat, we are able to have that neutral spine. If both legs were off the mat, we need to imprint the spine. If you're feeling this in your shoulders or your shoulders are starting to lift up towards your ears, you are going to try and relax them down and back. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Last one on each side. We breathe out through the harder portion, so we extend in and then lower. Okay. This is where we're going to step it up a notch. So again, you really need to listen to your body. You'll never feel anything sharp in the neck or anything in the lower back. Okay, so switch on the powerhouse. We're going to come up into a tabletop position. So remember, to do that, we need an imprinted spine. So belly button to spine, rib cage in, T-zone. We imprint the spine, no gap. We can then float the legs up to tabletop. So remember your option, you can bring the knees in closer if that feels good for you. Otherwise, they're going to have the knees directly above the hip. Already, that's really firing up the core. Now let's do that same movement again. Start off with the leg going a bit higher and back to tabletop. Left leg, back to tabletop. And I want you to find your spot. So you will know that you've gone too low, so you can keep going low, lower's harder, but you will know you've gone too low because your lower back starts to arch. So go and find your sweet spot. Where is that angle where it feels good, where it's a challenge, but my lower back is still imprinted? So we're breathing out through the leg extension and we into the tabletop. Breathe out and in. Let's do one more on each side. Relax through the shoulders. Draw the rib cage in and hug the knees. So you can see it's really firing up. Now, remember your option is to always go back to basics. So a really good one to again go back to is that bent knee fallout or that single leg extension. Good job. Okay, abdominal curl up. So in Pilates, we do the abdominal curl up slightly different. So let's place our hands behind our head. We're interlacing the fingertips and placing the head into the palm. I like to think of it as like a bit of a hammock. So imagine you're at the beach, you're relaxed, your head is fully relaxed. Elbows are open, we can barely see them out of the corner of our eye. And I want you to tuck the chin. So you're putting super glue under the chin and sticking it to the neck. Okay, now we're going to rely, by doing all of that, we're going to rely on the six-pack muscles to curl up and down. Good, so breathe out as you lift, in as you lower. Keep going. Breathe out to lift, in to lower. You can barely see the elbows out of the corner of your eye. Breathe out to lift, in to lower. And this is a lovely one to practice that rib to hip. So it should be sliding down towards the hips, the rib cage. So again, you can see the difference between an abdominal curl up and a crunch. So we're not like crunching up and down, yanking the neck. We're actually really resting the neck as we have our elbows open. Squeeze the knees together. We're going to breathe out to lift, in to lower. We have 4 more. Breathe out to lift, in to slowly lower. Breathe out to lift, draw the belly button in. You're looking at the belly button as well. That prompts you, if you look at your belly button, your body's so amazing. It actually will switch on. It's just fascinating. I'm fascinated by the human body. You look at the belly button, it draws the belly button in. And finish up strong. And relax. Single leg circle. The hands are going to come down by the mat, and let's extend the left leg up towards the sky. I want you now to turn the knee out to the side so it's externally rotated from the hip. You're pointing through the toe, and we're going to draw leg circles. So really quite small and controlled. So it's almost like your leg is a pencil and you're trying to draw a beautifully controlled circle on the roof. Good. So that might feel good for you, but let's correct it. So the right leg, I want you to focus on what the right leg is doing. Is it rocking and rolling a lot? If it is, we might need to go a little bit smaller with those circles. You can even bend the knee if that feels good for you. So you really want to activate all the muscles in your leg as you're circling this leg around. You're feeling it inner thigh and lower T-zone. That bent knee that's on the mat is super still and you're controlling it from your anchor, your powerhouse. Let's reverse. We've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. You might want to extend that leg. You do feel it in the hip flexor as well. Okay, let's go on the other side. So the right leg comes up. The first thing we're going to do is externally rotate, so the knee turns out to the side and point through the toe. Let's circle around. So remember you're trying to imagine that your right leg is a pencil and you're drawing a circle onto the roof. Now I just want you to check in with that left leg. Is the left knee rocking and rolling? If it is, you might need to, or maybe you've switched off the powerhouse, that's the first thing. Or maybe you need to create those smaller circles. Relax the shoulders. Draw the belly in. And let's reverse. We've got 8, 7. Draw the belly in and relax the shoulders. We've got 5 to go. 4. Check that in left knee. We've got 2 to go. Last one, and relax. You may even want to extend that leg and give that hip flexor a bit of a rub. Good. So you're feeling that inner thigh, lower core. Okay, let's place our hands up towards the sky, palms facing each other. Arm extension above the head and back to center. So we're going to inhale as the arms go above the head and exhale as they come back to center. Now, again, this could be really easy if we are just doing it normally, like the arms just flopping down, but we're in Pilates. So we're going to extend the arms above the head and just check that rib cage. So your rib cage is still sliding down towards the hips, even though the arms are extended. So naturally the rib cage wants to flare out, but we're going to tuck it in, slide it down even when the hands are above the head. Okay, so we inhale and we exhale. We inhale and we exhale. Keep going. Check that rib to hip connection. Slow it down. Draw the belly button in, flatten and scoop. And you may not be able to reach the floor with your hands because you do have that rib to hip connection. Nearly there. Let's do one more. Draw the belly in. Good. Let's bring the legs into it now. So as we extend, we're going to extend the leg out and then back in. Same leg, back in. Again, we're having to switch on the mind because we need a little bit of coordination as well for this. Okay, so let's exhale as we extend, inhale as we come back to tabletop. And you have one foot on the mat, which means you can have a neutral spine. So we're breathing out as we extend, in as we come back. Out to extend, in to come back in. Draw the belly in, the rib cage is still tucking in. Let's do 2 more on this side. Last one, and change legs. So switch it all on first, come up to tabletop and then extend the leg and the arm and then back in. So we breathe out to extend, in to come back in. We breathe out to extend, in to back in. Breathe out to extend and back in. 2 more to go. You're so strong. So let's bring those last 2 together with an imprinted spine into tabletop. So we start in tabletop and I want you to go higher with the legs. We're squeezing the legs together and let's extend both legs and arms and then back to center. So we breathe out to extend, in to back to tabletop. Now I want you to start high with the legs. And then if you feel good, you're going to go a little bit lower. But remember, you have to find your sweet spot. So your sweet spot is when your lower back, if it starts to arch, you've gone too low. And I often find in this position, when we extend the legs, the belly button tends to pop out. Remember, your job is to try and draw the belly button in as we extend the legs. Let's do 1 more. And come back in. Okay, so we're now going to move into the pelvic curl up. So the pelvic curl up is going to work the glutes a little bit more. So place your hands on the mat and let's tilt the lower back so it goes into an imprinted spine. And then peel the hips off the mat 1 vertebrae at a time until you come up onto the shoulders. You're feeling this now in your hips and your glutes. Really press through your feet with flat feet and then do the reverse on the way down. So you're going to imprint the spine so you're rolling 1 vertebrae at a time till it becomes an imprinted spine, then a neutral spine. Okay, so keep going. This is a pelvic curl up. So we imprint the spine and we peel the hips up, 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 squeeze at the top. And then we go down a little bit further. Good, so keep going with that. So we imprint, take it slow. We're tempted as well in Pilates to do everything fast. We want to go slow and controlled. Good. And it's so nice for that spinal mobility to do this type of exercise, but really for the hips, for the glutes. Let's do 2 more. Up onto the shoulders. Good job. And on this last one, I want you to hold it up. So let's hold it up, all the weight onto the shoulders and the feet, sorry. Let's hold it up. Now your hands can be on the mat if that feels good for you. Otherwise, you can lift the hands up to palms facing each other. Now I want you to squeeze your glutes, which is your bottom muscles. Squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold. We're going to come into little pulses. Are you ready? Let's go. We dip and lift for 8 more, and 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and curling down with control. Extend the legs, extend the arms if that feels good for you. Let's finish with some stretches. So you're going to grab underneath your elbows and sit back into it. So you're feeling that length in the upper back. We did a lot of core work today, so we're going to stretch the core in a moment. Good. So lying down on your front, I want you to pin the hips down and reach out of the core, reach out of the hips, feeling the length in the front of the core where we worked. And then I want you to push up to that downward dog position. So really push through the hands, lift the hips up towards the sky and lower the heels down. And then walk your hands back in to meet your hands, meet your feet. And let's turn to the left. With straight legs, we turn to the right. We turn to the left. And turn to the right. I would love for today's focus to really be about that mindset. I get to do Pilates. I get to switch on my mind. I get to honor the body that I've been given. It's my responsibility to look after it. I'm responsible for keeping healthy. Those sorts of mindset activities really do change your practice. You will become more motivated. Your goals become way more sustainable. If you're just chasing a quick fad, then it's not going to be a lifelong change. Where if you really change your mindset and really focus on doing these correct techniques, you will actually see sustainable results that actually continue past this 4-week challenge. And so that is my goal. Not only do I want you to do this Pilates class, but I really want you to practice those mindset techniques. Go back into your journal in the PDF document, share the news in the Facebook community group, and that will really help motivate others, and it'll actually keep you accountable. When you share your goals, when you share your thoughts, when you share what you're doing with others, you're more likely to actually do it. Even if they don't keep you accountable, because you've said it, you'll actually keep yourself accountable. So my challenge to you is to share what your mindset goals are going to be for this challenge. See you soon.